All right there, Axeman Anderson enthusiasts. We're going to be doing something a little bit different today. Yesterday, I finally went over and got my 1959 Axeman Anderson 130 that was restored by Orbie Pepley out in Shippensburg, PA. My friend Jan was nice enough to let me store it in his garage for a few months while we figured out what to do with it. And right now I have all the controls and everything stripped off of it because I decided what we're going to do with it. We are going to remove this 1959 Axeman Anderson 130 and put this one in its place. Now, that might seem a little unnecessary, but basically I just came to the conclusion that this one's a nice new fresh restoration, has what looks like a brand new domestic coil in it. Get a flashlight here so you actually see it. Nice shiny copper down in there. So I'm assuming it's a brand new one. But bottom line is I now have 3 of these things here. I mean, I really only need 2, and you could probably argue that I really only need 1. So what I decided I should probably do is sell one of these, since they both are in working, functioning condition, and I figured, well, I might as well keep the nicer of the 2. I mean, it's not that much nicer, but it is a little nicer. So that's what we're going to do. So the job for today is get the auger hung from the bin, since the bin is full. It's got, 5 ton and like 8 feet high coal in there. So don't really want to go messing around trying to get the auger out of there. So we're just going to pull the transfer head off and put some tie down straps up to the bin to suspend the auger while we swap the boilers out. So that's step 1. Get that hung up. Step 2 is going to be get the ash off of the grate in here. And then step 3 will be draining the boiler and removing the plumbing. Took all the wiring off yesterday. That's all just hung up there in the overhang above the boiler. So that should be out of the way enough. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, we got some of the plumbing disconnected. We got the auger hung there, as you can see. We are got the bypass pipe taken off and the union uncoupled from the return side. There's where the bypass went into the bottom. Here's where it came out, the header. And we've got this union undone. This is how much is coming out after we drained the boiler. So hopefully that stops. That is, hopefully it's not coming out of the return pipe. It goes back to the house. But anyway, worry about that later. The only thing we really gotta disconnect now is the supply side. So one thing we might have to do is the other boiler has a reducer that goes from the 3-inch to 1 1/4 inch, and this one had one that went to 2-inch, and then I went down to 1 1/2. I believe this is, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, this is bigger than what's sticking out of the top of the other boiler, so we might make life easy on ourselves and just cut one of these 2-inch sections since we can't use them, and we can undo this union. I'm not sure how this is all going to work out. I might have to redo some of this supply because the main pipe is right over where we are gonna be yoinking from, so I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we can just leave it. It'll make our lives much easier. Alrighty, so we're all ready to go here. I managed to get the header pipe out without having to take the whole thing off back to the wall, which is good, because that way we don't have to undo our water feed lines and our expansion tank lines. Our expansion tank's up there, hidden up out of the way. Removed the pipe off the return here that went between the boiler and the piping to the house. And I found a 1-inch T that I got here, and we're all hooked up and ready to lift. Let's see how it goes. All right, so we got our pad all cleaned off. Auger's hanging there, ready for some action. Managed to keep the plumbing intact there. Hopefully that doesn't cause us any leaks up at the base of the pumps there. But we'll worry about that in a little bit. Boilers are sitting over there. One thing we have to do is we have to get that fitting out, which I believe is 2" to 1 1/4, and put it in there on the new boiler. So we'll be doing that next. Well, so much for a quick swap. Ran into about a 2-hour detour here. The plan, see, this is the part, the return that connects to that union that comes out of the wall back from the house. And I figured we would just take the bushing out of that boiler and stick it in this one. No problem, right? Yeah, even with this boiler sitting on the ground, that bushing with the 6-foot bar on it would not even think about budging. So plan B, I took the one out, the bushing out of this side, which only went to down to 1 1/2 inch. We needed 1 1/4 inch, and tried sticking that in there. I found I had a 1 1/2 to 1 1/4 bushing, so that was good. But after taking the original bushing out of this port, the threads were quite problematic. I mean, I actually have, you know, a 2-inch thread chaser, which didn't really work. So then I figured I'd get a 2-inch nipple, which I had in the basement. And I got that to go in there. And then I got this adapter with a bigger 2-inch nipple on it and cranked that in there, in and out a bunch of times. And that finally did it, but it took about 2 hours. And I put enough tape and sealer on that thing because this is going to be one of those things that you do not want to leak. You will be really sorry if it leaks, because it means everything's got to come apart. One problem we might run into is this. Well, work with me here, camera. This bushing, these 2 bushings are going to stick out a little bit further from the boiler. So the distance from the wall to the boiler might be like 1/4 to 1/2 inch more, which could be a problem. I don't know. We'll put it in there and see. The reason it's a problem is because where the boiler is a fixed place on this here pad. And where the auger goes in is a fixed place also. So when you put if we get it in place, you know, plumbed into that, and we have trouble getting the transfer head on the end of the auger to line up in the boiler, well, then we're going to have to think of something to do. But yeah, we're done with that part now, and I think we're ready to put it on the pad now after our 2-hour delay. Well, there it is, in its new home. I did get the return hooked up. It looks like it'll probably work okay. There's the return pipe there. And I don't think we're going to do a bypass pipe around to the other return this time. I think we're just going to put a boiler drain in there. And then next we need to hook our supply trombone from there to there, which I'm not sure if we have enough stuff to do that. That's the trombone mess there. Problem is, this was for a 2-inch, or what is it? I guess 1.5 inch. And this boiler has a 1.25 inch bushing in the top of it. So this here, the trombone part of it, is actually 1.25, but this, and this are 1.5. So we've got to find something that'll be about this high when we put it all together. And I know I don't have a 1.5 inch valve, so not 100% sure what we're going to do. We could just eliminate the valve. We could, but I don't know. More later. All right, so here we are many hours later. And I think we are plumbed in. Header trombone came out a little different than it was before, but it should work. And I ended up putting the bypass back on just because it looks like it would still work. So yeah, it's in there. Now the big test is turn some water valves on here, see what happens. Open the PRP to let the pressure out. And we'll grab a screwdriver. If we want this is a radiator air bleed that I stuck in here. We'll close that for now. Just because. Well, I don't see anything leaking out yet. It's a good sign. The RV still works. air in here. Or is it just water? A little bit of air and some water. All right, pressured up. Get the boiler swapped. Get the plumbing moved over to the new boiler after setting it in place, and get some water in it. Straightened out. Nothing leaking in the front here, is there? Nope. This problem area isn't leaking, is it? Nope. Just some pipe sealant goo. Well, that'll do it for today. Tomorrow, if it still has pressure, we'll start pushing heat to it from the Van Wert in the basement. Where are we at right now? Looks like by this gauge, about 22.5 pounds. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this plug out. I was going to put my other gauge in there, but it's that wasn't coming out. So I guess we're only going to be running this gauge, and I just noticed this one sticks when you get to about 20 psi, then it pops up to 30. So yeah. So we might be making a change there. All right, that's it. Done. Plumbed and in.